Let's go.
I have no self-respect for myself, though. What about that, huh?
Yeah, where's the dignity, my guy?
Old people have such weird names. Fred Couples, Dickie Pride, Retief Goosen, Paul Broadhurst,
That's not that weird.
Paul Goidos, Bernhard Langer. All these names are so weird. These are all old people. Welcome everybody back to another episode. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Rooftop Pod. I am your host, Jesse, and joining me today is my sister
Rachel
and my brother
Andrew.
And we are back and better than ever. Not really.
No, but also we could play the New York Times 36
That's really deep.
36 questions.
Was I? Oh, I was on our Discord just now while I was on the
set
toilet.
One, set two.
Oh shoot.
Set 1, set 2,
Set
set 3,
timer.
where it's like it starts off.
Oh, true. We could do that. That's a good. That's good.
That's a good one. Oh, they're all in Quizlet, but we're not really strangers.
Oh, brother.
It's on a Quizlet.
It's on a Quizlet, yeah.
Brother.
That's amazing.
That's so funny.
Everything's on a Quizlet. Oh my God.
Real.
You know those like tests that like or homeworks that teachers just like recycle from online?
Mhm.
You can always find the answers on
Always on
Quizlets.
Quizlet.
Dude, I ripped so many of those during college. It was crazy.
Dang, your college professors were lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dang.
Well,
mine
some
were too, to be
classes,
honest.
some made like original questions.
Yeah,
But whenever,
I don't think.
dude, the
Yeah.
feeling of finding a Quizlet set for a homework that you're
Mhm.
working on,
Yeah.
best feeling ever.
Real.
No, my macroeconomics
Quizlet
course.
costs money now.
Oh,
Costs
what?
money. At
Inflation.
least for. Whoa, did you guys ever use Slater?
Yes, with the
Yeah,
textbooks.
so Quizlet bought Slater, and so now those questions are money.
I
Yeah.
see. But for
Unfortunate.
my intermediate macroeconomics course back in college, I realized after the second quiz, I like Googled one of the quiz questions and found the quizzes on Quizlet. So they weren't even homework assignments. Oh, and the quizzes were like 30-40% of our grade. It was
Dang.
phenomenal. Oh my God. That was one of the greatest finds of the century. Good class though.
Dang.
Wait, okay, I'm reading this last message from someone on the rooftop chat server. He's like, sometimes this server kind of gives me weird vibes. Like, no one really talks. Wait, this is a good thing. No one really talks shit or talks
He
random
likes-
stuff.
Yeah, or they like it.
And then he says at the end, there are no random people who just come and ask for nitros or gift cards, and the owners
What?
of the server will just beg you to boost the server. No offense to the owner. Wait, I don't ask anyone.
Not you.
No,
I
not
think
me.
there's
Other
about
servers.
It's one of the nicest servers I've been to. We literally don't do anything. I like sometimes go on and respond.
Yeah.
We should be more active on our server. Although I will say it's mostly like a few people that are really active, and I appreciate
Mhm.
those people a lot.
Mhm.
30s and Floofer. She's very active.
Mm-hmm.
Love her input. Cindy Jane, who I guess I'm also mutuals on Instagram, always gives me great feedback. Shout out.
Do you use Discord outside of this? Like, are you a Discord user?
Not really. Only for video games, like to chat with my friends while we're playing. Other than that, I'm not a part of any. So I don't know how to run a Discord server.
Yeah.
So if any of you guys are on the Discord and want to, can you make people moderators and stuff?
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Rachel,
Yeah.
you're young and hip.
Oh,
We can
no,
ask-
I don't know anything
Oh,
about
I can ask.
Discord.
I can ask John and Philip. Yeah, because they're a part of.
True.
Our little brothers are more active in the Discord
Maybe
server
they can be our
space.
monitors. Actually,
Yeah.
I don't trust that.
Oh, 30s and Floofer asked if anyone has seen The Farewell. Did you guys watch that movie
Yeah.
with Aquafina?
Yeah.
What'd you guys think?
That was a pretty good movie. Wow, it's been years. Hold up, let me.
I remember watching it and like people like crying and like finding it super emotional, which I think it was. I think it was a really well done movie. And I said this in our Discord. I could not look past Aquafina's
The Mandarin.
terrible Chinese.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
And like if you weren't Chinese, then you wouldn't notice it because you're just
Right.
like, oh, that's whatever, just regular Chinese. But her American accent, and there's nothing wrong with, but it was just like she was like
She just
definitely
like me for
memorizing the
real.
pinyin, and like the inflections were just all over. I couldn't even
Yeah.
understand what she was saying. I was like reading the subtitles to
Yeah.
understand what she was
Yeah.
saying. I had a hard time looking past it. Other than that, I think it was a really well done, very touching movie.
I watched it like when it first came out with my friend, and my friend loves Aquafina, like
Sure,
biggest fan of Aquafina ever.
Cool.
Yeah, because I think my friend is like really appreciated Asian American women who like broke the standard mold of like being, you know, prim
the
and proper
stereotype, yes.
and whatever.
Yeah.
And so she really liked Awkwafina, Ali Wong, like especially Asian American female comedians. Anyways, so incredibly high expectations going in, especially because of all of the hype that it had gotten, like critical acclaim. Like Beautiful Movie was from A24, I think.
It felt like an A24 style production.
Yeah.
So I'm
but yeah, so I remember we went in, we watched it, and when the movie ended, we both looked at each other and we were like, so what did you think about that movie?
Yeah,
it is an A24.
Yeah, and I think ours was similar in the sense of it was a good movie. It had a lot of good meaning in it. It didn't feel as relatable per se as like other Asian American films have been as of late, especially like Everything Everywhere and Minari. Those were hard hitters.
Minari, one of the best movies I've ever seen.
I think it'll take a long time for something to knock that movie off the top for me. But yeah, the Chinese was not great. I think to an extent it's almost like I don't know what it is, because I feel like if people speak English with a different accent, like it doesn't bother me that much.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
But with Chinese, like maybe it's because I can recognize it in myself when I say it, and that's something I don't like about myself. So I guess like maybe that translates to when I hear other people speak it with like a
the thing
type
is,
of accent.
I think for me, it just felt like she was memorizing. It didn't come off as acting. It was
really
like
Come
it
off as
took,
natural.
It
Yeah.
took off from the acting, like it took
Yeah.
away from her acting,
Yeah.
because it felt like she was acting.
yeah,
like
it felt unnatural.
It felt unnatural because I could tell she wasn't
comfortable
communicating in that language. It didn't feel like she was communicating to the other characters. It felt like
That's
she was reciting from a pinging script. That kind of took me out of the movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this feels staged because
Yeah.
it's clearly staged. So I think
No,
that's
that makes a
why
lot of sense,
I
yeah.
actually think that's the biggest reason why I didn't like it.
Yeah.
When she was speaking English, it was perfectly fine. I was like, oh, this is good acting. But as soon as she switched to Chinese, I was like, this is a movie. It's taking me out from the fact that this is reality, or like I'm not immersed in this world anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's what it is. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I found.
Thoughts.
I'm still trying to remember because
I forget what the movie is about, to be honest.
Really?
The grandma passing.
Oh, something
Yeah.
something about grandma passing. But
Her
what was, like,
grandma
the
has
conflict?
terminal.
And her family's not. Should we spoiler?
Okay, yeah. Spoiler alert. I can explain it. Grandma has terminal illness. Everyone knows this except for the grandma because they're hiding this from her. And so they all go back to China for her cousin's wedding, supposedly to celebrate the wedding, but really it is to see the grandma like one last time before she passes.
Yeah. That's a very morbid, sad
Yeah,
concept.
yeah.
It's a good concept to
I don't
play
know
off.
why. You're right. I was thinking back to the relatability because for some reason like Minari like hit and Everything Everywhere All at Once hit like emotionally struck a chord within me, but Farewell didn't hit that same emotional chord.
Yeah, that's true.
On my end, I don't know. I don't think for me it was the pinging. I think I have an easier time looking past that, maybe because my Chinese is so bad.
True.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I can look past it a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I think it just like I'm having such a hard time collecting my thoughts because I don't think it just left a big impression on me. I didn't
fair.
think it was a bad movie though. I don't remember like watching it and being like ugh, but I also don't remember watching it being like whoa.
Yeah.
I guess another question on the relatability front with Minari and Everything Everywhere. First of all, or I guess second of all, because I want to ask another question before this. Second of all is, how did you guys relate to Everything Everywhere? Because I feel like for me, because it was like a mother-daughter relationship, that like hit. But before that
relationship is very similar to kind of similar to. Like the dynamic, not the exact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I related to
A lot
joy
of yelling
a lot.
back and forth.
Anyways,
Resentment
but
towards
before
your mom.
that, relatability on the other relatability front, is do you think that you connect less with movies that depict like a rough family dynamic? Because I feel like our family has always been pretty close, and I feel like The Farewell, like everyone in the family felt very distant.
Why.
And like with Minari, it was like a really strong bond. With Everything Everywhere, even though they didn't have a great relationship, they were still close. Like they had a lot of
with her than any other.
that
a
line.
line.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I think the family being out of touch with each other is not as relatable, but I do think our family did go through relationship problems. I think each of us have had issues with either mom and dad or even with each other. I think I relate to that aspect, but there was a point of reconciliation between each of the family members, where now we're at a point where we're super close with mom and dad, we're super close with each other, like we've worked past any of the problems that we had before.
I guess with that, like what I was saying is like you can have problems with people but still be close. But for The Farewell, it just felt
They
like
just
everyone
were
was really
cold.
distant.
Yeah.
It's like you're so distant that like your problem
Yeah.
is that you are distant.
But I think it's a common thing to see in Asian families, at least especially in the East or in China specifically. Like a lot of things go unsaid and relationships are almost a little bit superficial, just because culturally I don't think it's normal for Chinese families to be like really vulnerable with their
Right.
parents, with their other siblings. Like most of it's like you keep it to yourself
Right.
type of culture, where our family it's more we share a lot with each other. Like mom and dad know a lot about my life to the extent that they should know.
Yeah.
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 Someone asked in the I don't know
Oh my
if you guys
God.
have anything else to add to that.
Or I wanted to ask
Oh,
the
yeah.
Everything Everywhere.
Oh yeah,
What?
ask.
No.
Or
The
are
question
you-
you were asked.
wait.
Why did we relate to it?
Or yeah, but before that,
Oh, wait.
do you have any thoughts on the distance and the closeness of family relationships and the relatability?
It's okay if you
Yes
don't.
and no,
Oh.
because like we also aren't close with our extended family. Not
Right.
really.
Yeah, I guess not.
so,
I
like,
mean, it's
that
hard to be
part
because
was-
they're not here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which was also Aquafina's issue in The Farewell. She
Right.
grew up in the States. So like that was honestly probably more relatable. But I also didn't love how cold the family felt.
Aquafina's
but-
not really relatable to me, like in any movies that she's played in.
I mean,
I'm
yeah.
just like, I don't feel like I can put myself in her shoes at all.
I feel like she's always used as like a comedic
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
addition though, or most of the time when
True.
she's not like the main character.
Well, in The Farewell, she was not really that.
Well, yeah, because she was the main character in that
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because I don't think she's had any other like super major acting roles aside from that.
Yeah. Besides supporting roles, yeah, I agree.
Okay.
You can ask away.
Anyways, did you guys relate to Everything
Once.
Everywhere All at Once?
I don't know if I want to put this on the internet.
Oh,
You can say it and then we can cut
Dude,
it.
I honestly
Yeah.
didn't think the movie was like that
Oh,
superb. Yeah.
Wow.
It was hyped up so much. I'm not gonna lie, the first time I watched
Whoa.
it, I fell asleep.
Wow.
Whoa. Was it just
Yeah.
because you were tired or the movie put you to sleep?
A little bit of both.
Wow.
Because Nick
Well, that's
hyped it up a
actually
lot.
crazy.
Nick was
Oh.
visiting me in Cleveland, and
Maybe the
Dang.
expectations were too high then.
my expectations
So I
were
went with
super
no
high because everyone was
expectations.
like, "This is an amazing movie."
Did
like,
you
Oscar
know
night.
anything about the movie before you watched
No,
it?
I had no idea. I just
Okay.
knew it had some sort of like timeline, like multi-dimensional aspect
multiverse,
to it,
Yeah.
and it was mind blowing from that aspect. That part I appreciated a lot, but I was like, it was a little too like random and scatterbrained for me.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool, like all the special effects and everything they were able to do on the budget that they did it with, like just crazy like
Insane,
visuals and
yeah.
like insane costume design. Like
Yeah.
it was visually just a stunning movie.
Yeah.
That part I appreciated a lot, but I didn't find the narrative like especially compelling.
Wow.
Dang.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I just loved Wayne in that movie.
Waymond.
That line, the laundry line,
Yeah.
honestly, that's probably because I didn't personally relate to it, but I saw the mother-daughter relationship. And I'm like, I saw this growing up with Mom and Rachel, so I still cried during those parts.
Really?
Like empathetically, I'm like, I feel like I understand. But when Wayman said the laundry line, I'm like, this is how I want to find love. Like that's the type of love I'm still trying to find.
That's cute.
Yeah, I really like the relationship between Michelle Yeoh and what's her name?
Stephanie Shu.
Stephanie Shu, Joby.
Jobo.
Joe
Joe.
Yeah.
B. Jobo.
Joe.
Jojo.
Joe.
Jobu.
Jobu
Tabaki.
Tabaki.
There you
Yeah.
go. I like that whole storyline. I
Yeah.
thought that kind of caught me off guard because like I didn't realize she would be Jobu, which is I thought was cool.
Oh.
I mean, I figured out like it wasn't clear from the beginning.
Okay.
I was like,
Okay.
that's
Because it's
Steph-
confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the relationship dynamic between her and her mom, that was especially compelling. But everything else surrounding the movie, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think the action was super compelling. Like I don't know who did the choreography for the action bits, but I thought they could have done. I don't know. I'm being too critical because I came in with just super high expectation. I
Right.
was like, I was prepared to like cry, laugh, whatever.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it was. I think if I came in with like no expectations, I think it would have hit harder.
Yeah. That's
a
fair.
general theme with movies. If I
Yeah,
come in
that's
with a
true.
high, like your perception of a movie is so dependent on the expectation that you come in
Yeah.
That's
with.
very true.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man, whatever.
Into the Spider-Verse
the one where
or
all
the
the
third
different,
one.
all the
wait.
different spiders
Yeah.
mans came up.
Spiders
Yeah.
Mans.
Was
Yeah.
it? Is
No
it
Way
Into
Home?
the Universe
No.
or No Way Home? It was No Way Home.
Isn't that the first one?
No, it's something.
It's
Nowhere
matter.
home.
Yeah.
Somewhere home.
The new
Some
one where
home.
like, oh, if
Yeah.
you haven't seen this, it's your fault.
Shame
Where-
on you. No, I'm
yeah.
just kidding.
Yeah.
The one where like all the Peter Parkers show up in
Yeah.
Tom Holland's universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiverse.
That one-
So many multiverse movies.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's
continue.
the obviously that's the trend right now.
Yeah,
But
low-key, that one was.
I also didn't find that movie that great.
Okay, same.
'Cause
Okay,
I
same.
so you need
Yeah.
to watch movies as soon as they
But
come
I
out, or
don't
else they get
think-
spoiled for you.
I don't think I would have like thought it was super great even if I had watched it with no expectations.
But when people watched it and didn't know that they were gonna show up in the movie,
Oh, yeah.
that must have been mind blowing.
Yeah.
But I already knew that they were gonna show up. I was just
Yeah.
waiting for them to show up, and then when they showed up, I was like,
yeah.
Yes,
it lost its
whatever.
luster.
Yeah.
And that's super frustrating. And now I need to be more like on top of seeing movies right as they come
Yeah.
out, because then I think my perception of it will be better.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
That's true. That's tough because I
Yeah.
remember watching Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh,
Yes.
having
God.
really low expectations.
Yes, I love that movie.
and I really liked it. I was
People
I-
hated
What?
that movie.
exactly.
I
I
did
thought
not
Love and
like
Thunder
it.
was great.
I was
It
just
was
like
just shits and giggles.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was just like it was just an enjoyable movie. I didn't
Yeah.
expect anything to be deep.
Yeah.
I didn't expect any lines to be
Same.
super
Okay.
hard hitter. But I was like, I felt good watching it,
And
I
it was
enjoyed
That's
watching
visually aesthetic, like the contrast between like the really dark black and white
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
chromatic
Yeah.
world that like
It was
the
such a
God
stupid
Killer-
movie.
Yeah,
though.
objectively,
Yeah.
very. I mean,
it was a silly movie.
Silly
It was
movie,
kind of
yeah.
weird because Christian Bale was like this like really high level
Yeah.
actor who's like
Yeah.
pouring his soul into this
Yeah.
role.
Yeah.
Everyone else is just dicking around in their
Wait,
Wait,
roles.
who's
and
the
just,
some
like,
dumb
director
jokes
too?
that-
The
Yeah.
director also directed
Oh,
Jojo
Waik-
Rabbit.
yeah, Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Waititi.
Waititi.
Not
It's
Waikiki,
Taika
yes.
Waititi.
Oops.
Also one of the greatest.
Ribba.
I love
Yeah.
his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit was
A1
fantastic.
movie, yeah.
And he was, I didn't realize at the time, but he was the Hitler in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He played, I mean, I think he acts in a lot of his own movies.
He's also Korg.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he
yeah,
is
yeah.
in the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic director. And I
Yes.
came in,
Yeah.
I loved Thor Love and Thunder. I loved the
There's
visuals.
some not great jokes, but yeah, that didn't quite
I
land.
thought they kind of
Wasn't-
landed for me a little
No.
bit.
But the expectations were low and they exceeded them.
Yeah,
so I was
exactly.
Like,
That's good. I think okay, going back to Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
I recommended it to my roommate, and like hesitantly though, because I was like, ooh, this might be like a little too real for her. Because when I was watching the movie, like along with like being able to relate on my own like personal level, I was like, I feel like this kind of relationship is like also the kind that like my roommate has had with her mom. But like even more so. And so she finally watched it, like, I think last week, and she absolutely loved it. And I told her, like, that I was hesitant to show her, and she was like, no, like, it depicted depression in such a real way. Like, I've never seen depression, like, depicted on screen with, like, the amount of care and, like, the amount of realness that Everything Everywhere All at Once did.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, dang, like, I didn't even think about it on that front.
Yeah, and your ability to relate to characters and what they're going through massively alters your perception of the movie for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's the other reason why I didn't find a certain character super relatable in Everything Everywhere All at Once. I didn't feel attached to. And also, I watched it on like a cheap projector in my room.
No,
Maybe
this
I think
is
that
a
took
movie
away
you
from
have
it
to
a
watch
little
in
bit.
theaters. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that took away a little bit of
it re-released in theaters, so you can actually go watch it in theaters right now. Yeah.
Okay. Because of the Oscar nominations and such.
Oh man, maybe I will rewatch it.
Yeah,
I'll
I got
watch it again.
$3 movie tickets.
I want to watch a couple other movies.
Come drive up with me.
Don't you have free Regal tickets here?
I have 2 free ones. Yeah.
What are we watching with those tickets?
I don't know. There's Puss in Boots or there's Ant-Man.
I already told my friend I would watch it with him, so I probably cannot.
We can watch it without
There's
you.
got to be another good movie out right now.
Well, I gotta support the business, you know.
There's nothing like.
Really?
No, I've heard amazing thing about the new Puss in Boots. Like all of
I've
my
heard
friends
good
that
things
have
too.
watched it love it.
Yeah,
no.
I've heard good things
Set
about
the
it too.
expectations
Sorry.
lower.
Oh God, dang
no.
it, Rachel.
No. Okay.
Now we're
okay,
gonna
fine,
hate the movie.
No. It's like I feel like
It's like surprisingly good. I've heard.
surprisingly
Yeah,
good.
it's like a Puss in Boot movie.
Yeah.
Isn't it the second one too?
Yeah,
It's
the
like,
Last Wish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think it's also
My
good for
favorite
all
is
age
It's been
ranges.
nominated for some Oscars.
What?
Oscars, yeah.
Oh,
Puss in
man.
Boots is nominated.
But
for
I
the
think
Oscar.
for like the animation
Taking the
category.
expectations too high.
Sorry.
yeah.
Oh my
ratchet
gosh.
it down a
No,
little bit.
as in like good, as in it's so silly, goofy. Haha.
Hey, that's
But-
true.
I feel like whenever I watch Oscar-nominated movies, they meet the expectations.
Yeah.
Even though
Really?
I'm like, oh, it's Oscar-nominated, it has to be good. Every single one I've seen
Parasite. Oh.
is like phenomenal.
Parasite hit
Parasite, I came in with
different.
no
Yeah.
expectations,
Yeah.
and I was like, what the fuck is this
I
movie?
remember,
Lord.
I remember telling my friends in high school, I was like, come watch this movie with me. And they'd be like, what's it about? And I was like, that's the thing.
No
you can't
idea.
know. You can't know
Yeah.
on you go watch it.
Yes.
And all 3 of us, we went
Oh, I had no
$5 AMC Tuesday. We went and
Oh
watched
my
it. We came out, we were like,
What on earth did we just witness?
yeah.
I've watched that movie
Yeah.
10 times
Yeah.
at least
Yeah.
because I
Yeah,
did
you
a whole
wrote a
project.
paper on
I wrote
it,
a
yeah.
paper on
Oh
it
my god.
because it was such a groundbreaking movie.
It was.
And like
It was so innovative on so many fronts.
So many fronts
Yeah.
because it just weaved like so many different genres
Yeah.
of movies together. It was a
Yeah.
comedy. It was a thriller. It was. Oh my goodness.
The
It was
turns,
just
the
like-
twist.
Yeah, the twisting. The
If you haven't seen Parasite already,
Yeah.
you're behind. But go
yeah.
freaking see this movie.
and like the messaging and
Yeah.
like the imagery,
visual-
and the visual
Yes,
symbolism.
a lot of
God, yeah, it's insane.
Bong Joon-ho is like absolute
Yeah.
wizard. Like
Wild.
to direct
He's a
a
wizard.
film like that is just
Mm-hmm.
it blows my
Stunning.
mind. The
Yeah.
acting was also
Yeah.
phenomenal. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh man. God.
I think that has been the most like, oh my god,
Yeah.
moments in a
Yeah.
movie theater.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's movie. It's probably my favorite movie of all time. Like,
Really?
yeah,
That
it's
makes
my
sense,
kind of
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
just
I've realized that my kind of movie is like really slow. It almost feels documentary kind of movies, like where
So,
you're
like,
just
Minari.
yeah, you're just
I
like
see.
witnessing things happen and there's
Yeah.
no like overt messaging, and it's the kind of movie where you come out of it and you have to reflect and like put all the pieces together and obtain your own message from the movie.
Yeah, I have different moods for different types of
Yeah.
movies. I like
Yeah.
action movies sometimes where you just don't have to like put in any effort into thinking about
Yeah.
what's going on or reflecting.
Mm-hmm.
You just watch a bunch of random violence go on. You're
Yeah.
just like, wow, that looks cool.
That's me on a plane.
Yeah,
Like,
on the
I
plane,
like
like that's
violence,
kind of
yeah.
I just like action
Yeah.
movies.
World
fair.
War Z. That's why I watched
Yeah,
the plane. And I was
really-
like, no thoughts, head empty, just
No
watch
thoughts,
the
head
movie.
empty.
Yeah, just like really played out narratives, just
Yeah.
watching it, but
Yeah.
like with cool visuals. I like those a lot.
Yeah. Time and place.
Yeah, time and place. One person asked on the Discord, they're like, oh, your parents are. I'm gonna shout them out because
Mm.
I also have to pull up, I think.
These people.
you have to what?
I also have it pulled up.
It was
let's
in.
scroll back.
I'm here because of two things. I found you on IG. I have a Discord. Cool, man.
Nice.
Good job.
Pablo Picasso. It was, I forget who said it, but it was like, oh, like you were saying on one of your podcast episodes that your parents were super conservative.
Oh.
What would their
No, I
thoughts
found it.
be if like they found out you were like
Wait.
doing online dating? I don't remember what
No.
that was.
Totally fine.
Yes.
Do
Yeah,
they
I
not
feel like
already
they're
know that we're
I don't
online?
know.
They, I've,
I met my ex through him.
Oh,
I feel
right.
like
They definitely know.
they
yeah.
knew that.
Yeah, and it's very accepted now, so
Yeah.
I think they would be fine.
They just want me to get married. Dad talked to me again today.
yeah, they
about
want
it.
grandchildren.
Yeah.
Dog, they have
They're like, oh,
children
you
of
have
their
enough
own. They
now.
still have to.
I know,
Yeah,
that's
they
what
still
I'm
gotta
saying.
go through college.
Yeah.
No, but mom loves babies.
Yeah,
I
they
know
want the
mom
little
loves
ones.
babies.
Yeah.
I don't
Like
know about dad.
Kai Kai and Lily's
Oh
our
yeah.
nieces, Annie and
Mom's like-
Joanna.
I mean, they are so
They're
adorable.
Adorable.
Yeah,
They're
they're
the
really
most
cute.
Yeah.
obedient kids in the world.
yeah, they're
Wow.
so well behaved.
Yeah.
It's
so
insane.
well behaved.
Yeah.
I was listening to Bart and Gio's podcast because they talk a lot about raising kids now because that's
Yeah.
what they're going through in life right now.
What? Oh,
And they were just like talking about like the difference between their kid, like Taika, being like the super rowdy kid who just like does whatever he wants and like has like lives in his own world versus like kids who are like super obedient and like listen to everything that their parents said. Do you guys want a kid who's like super obedient, easy to take care of, or like a kid like Taika who's like just like different? He's like gonna be like a super creative. It's like a hit or miss. He
Yeah.
could become
Different.
like a drug
Yeah.
addict, or he could
Oh
become
my
like
gosh.
who's living on the streets, or he could just like turn out to be like a savant and just like an incredible artist or creative mind at whatever they're doing. Because I feel like you can't develop like that kind of person, like a creative genius, unless they like had like a weird upbringing. Like they were just allowed to be weird when they were a kid, rather than like super straightforward and obedient. Like I think mom and dad raised us in an environment such that it was like a balance between structured and unstructured. Felt kind of unstructured just because mom didn't have time to set a super regimented, strict,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
weren't like the most obedient growing up. But like, I don't know. I feel like
I feel like we were.
I would rather. I would go. Yeah, I would go
Yeah.
more towards the route of like letting my kid figure out what they like to do and not as much structure.
Yeah. If you're gonna pick strictly between the extremes,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it'd be so easy to raise like a very obedient.
Oh, yeah,
kid.
like-
Child, yeah.
But I'm thinking like 18 years down the line when they're trying to like figure out what they want to do, and
Yeah.
since they've never had to like originally think or take charge of what they wanted,
It's very cookie cutter.
yeah, it
Life.
might be a little bit tougher down the line.
Yeah.
It's
Do
like
you think it's not possible to do both? Like,
Oh,
can you
yes,
be
it
a
is.
good kid and also like have your own
yeah,
ambitions?
oh yeah,
in
yeah,
life?
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like the perfect world is the middle ground. But if you were to only pick
I don't-
between the two extremes,
No, as in, I'm saying like
you can be extremes
obedient.
for both.
No, you can be obedient, but still have your own ambitions.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's not like a middle ground. Like you
Oh.
can still
Yeah.
Be super
both.
obedient. Yeah. I think those are non-overlapping, but
Oh no, I mean,
I would
it's-
say that
Hmm.
like having just like a different way of thinking, like a super independent thinker who's like very creative.
who also like questions why they have to do certain
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Questions authority.
Yeah,
Because like
that,
questioning
yeah.
authority, I think is a huge asset because you're always like, it's not, the world is not black and white to you. Like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
nothing that people say. I think this is how I am, and it
Oh,
works to my
really?
disadvantage because I'm just like, I don't believe in authority, which is bad
Oh,
because
we are the opposite.
to a certain extent, I don't believe like there's one way to do any certain thing. Like I
Right.
don't think rules. I just don't.
Rules were meant to be broken.
Yeah, I just feel like rules don't really apply to me. I understand that they're there, and then the consequences is what keeps me from breaking certain rules. But I think rules are BS. Like there's a way to do things that are better outside of the rules. Always, there's always
Yeah.
a better way to do something, regardless of what the rules. I'm speaking super vaguely and abstractly right now, but I don't think you get that sort of mindset if you're raised being super obedient. You're always just like
Oh, you just follow whatever. So.
Yeah.
succumbing
I
to
see, I see, I see.
authority. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'd be like both would be frustrating to me
Mm.
because obviously the one that is, you know, hyper independent, that's like on a parenting front, super frustrating, especially like when you want to get them to do certain things. But then on the other hand, with like the super obedient child, I'd kind of be like, so like, why aren't you acting out? Like, what's wrong?
Boring.
Yeah.
Dating apps.
Oh, yeah.
We're okay. And then I said mom and dad want me to have kids. Talked about it on the car ride here.
Ouch.
I don't know if I'm ready for dad.
No.
Dad keeps on saying it's like, oh yeah, like you have enough to raise a family. I'm like, I don't want to raise a family.
Because you're the only one financially
Yeah.
fit to have a kid family right now.
Yeah, because Dad's like, you have everything you need to like get a house, find a wife, and then start a family. I'm like, but I don't want to.
Step 1, get a house. Step 2, find a wife.
Step
Step
3,
three,
have
have kids.
baby.
It's really crazy because as you advance in socioeconomic status, the age that you have kids at becomes later and later.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Yeah.
fact.
Statistics.
You just
yeah.
because like most people spend their time building their careers before they have kids.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have a kid till I'm like mid to late 30s.
You got
Which is
long
crazy.
crazy. Ahead of you.
Yeah,
Actually,
kids do I
how many
want?
kids do you want? Have we talked about this?
I think I
don't
want
think-
3. I think if I could have kids like just the 3, I think the dynamic works out super well.
We don't need Philip and John.
No, but they're like their own set of kids.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
mom and dad had like 3 kids and then just basically had
I don't know.
another family of 2 kids.
I think it'd be
'Cause
really
they do that.
interesting what the dynamic would be if Philip was like 2 years older or like 3 years older.
Like just
I think if it
outside
was
of Rachel's
closer,
age.
yeah.
Because what if Rachel and like Philip went to high school together?
Whoa.
Super interesting.
That is
Yeah.
interesting.
Interesting.
In another universe.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then-
Interesting.
yeah, and John's just like way younger than everyone.
John would be in his
He's
own little
isolated.
universe.
Yeah, I mean he kind of already is.
Already a little baby.
You know what's really funny? We can throw the picture on the screen. Actually, it's not that interesting, but the picture above the fireplace, that family picture that we took, I think in a series, you're Philip's age and I'm John's age.
Whoa.
It's crazy.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah. You're 15 in that picture. I'm 12.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I know, which is crazy because the crazy
Insane.
thing was I was looking at the picture. I don't know the thoughts in my head like at 12. Like I don't even know what life was like at 12. And I look at John and I'm like, dude, in 12 and a half years, you're going to be where I'm at. And you're not going to remember
Yeah.
any thoughts in your head when
That's
you were that
crazy.
age.
Dude,
But
I-
I'm seeing them at that age.
I don't know. My perception of life has felt so continuous that it doesn't feel like I'm a different person. Like I feel
Really?
like my thoughts at 15 were like the same thoughts that I
Whoa,
have
that's-
now.
I think there's been like big turning points in
Really?
my life where I'm
I
like,
don't think so. It feels very continuous for me.
that's crazy. Like
Yeah.
junior year, I think was like a new Andrew. Like the freshman year of high school Andrew and the junior year of high school Andrew, 2 completely different people. And then it's been continuous. Obviously, I've changed a lot since then, but it's been more continuous since then. But there's been definitive breaks,
Yeah.
Oh.
like complete
Yeah.
shifts actually in personality
Yeah.
too. Like in 6th grade, I became deathly shy versus 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, I was like super loud and obnoxious.
Yeah,
There was
yeah,
like
yeah.
a weird like 180 personality
Weird
shift.
middle school things.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for me it's the
thought
same.
that
Like
was
I feel
same.
like every 3 to 4 years at least I will have like a complete life overhaul.
Hmm. Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Because
That has
the
a
way
lot
I
to say.
perceive you guys, it also feels continuous.
Oh,
Like I feel like your personalities have been pretty
Interesting.
continuous and non
Interesting.
guess, like,
changing.
yeah, personality probably at home hasn't changed too much.
Ah,
But school personality and like other social environments. Like when you
How I
said
portray
I went
myself.
out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely different than
Well, yeah, it's
what-
because you're on drugs.
I wasn't on drugs.
Whoa.
Drugs
Whoa
were
there.
lit. No, drugs scare me.
No drugs, bad.
No
bad.
Drugs are bad. Don't do drugs.
No
Alcohol's
one,
probably actually worse
no
for
one
you,
here
but-
endorses
yeah.
doing drugs.
Oh.
We don't do
Yeah,
drugs.
absolutely
Yeah.
not.
No
Anyway,
drugs.
okay, okay, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, no. Have 180'd my personality several times throughout grade school and elementary school and high school.
And college.
Less so college,
I-
but yeah.
The way I see it is like those personalities already existed. I'm just accentuating some and downplaying others. Because I think I used to be way more awkward in like middle school, but I still think I'm kind of awkward. Like
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
are.
I've just developed skills to like cope with my awkwardness. Like I know how to, like I don't think I'm actually a super social person. I just know how to behave like a social person.
Yeah.
Oh,
I see.
yeah.
I've developed and rehearsed
Give
the
me
lines.
some tips.
Like and I think I've talked about this in another podcast, but like my friend Arjun, he's naturally a super social person, really great at making friends. Like a lot of my friends I have today are because of him. Like he connected me with them. I lived with him for 4 years in college. I also was best friends with him in high school as well, and we're still best friends. But during those 4 years in college, I would just observe him and like literally word for word I would literally word for word
Pictures.
like repeat lines that he said to people.
Dang.
And that's how I would make friends. Like I think I'm a
Wow.
poser. Like I don't think I actually know how to be social. I'm literally just ripping off of what
Hold
other
on,
people
send,
do.
Send me your note.
I didn't take
Airdrop those
notes,
real
but
quick.
like
Yeah.
and I have a friend now in med school who's also naturally like very social and outgoing and knows how to behave in those social contexts. I just adopt certain mannerisms and certain behaviors that they do that I've seen works, and I use them myself. And I'm like, this works, and people perceive me as a more social, outgoing person.
Wow.
But I
Interesting.
feel like a fraud. Like I don't
When
feel
you
like
do
I'm
it.
actually like a
Yeah.
real social person. I'm just like pretending to be someone who I don't think I genuinely am. But it's offered a lot of advantages. I don't feel like I'm not being true to myself. Because I think slowly it starts morphing into like who you
Yeah,
are.
you can
Yeah.
be the person that you want
Yeah.
to be. Wow, that's
Yes.
corny ass line.
Yeah.
I was
Speak into
listening to
existence.
another podcast. I forget whose podcast to credit, but someone was saying that like if you want to completely reset your life, one thing you can do is you can move to a different place, be a completely different person than like the person you want to be. No one has preconceived notions. Preconceived
Yeah.
notions is a killer of what
It's a hindrance.
it's a hindrance
Yeah.
of you becoming who you want to be,
Yeah,
because you don't want
absolutely.
to stand out or people be
Yeah.
like, that's not you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other place you can do it is an improv class where no one knows who you are, and the
Yeah.
idea is to pretend to be like someone
that's
you're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So if you want to develop another personality, people have said go to improv
You
class.
can also go out and just straight up lie to people.
Yeah,
Like
about
make up
who
your
you
own
are.
personality.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that's those people are delusional. But
Wait, I think they're so funny.
it would be fun as a game. But if you're
Yeah.
doing it just to convince someone that you're,
that's kind of psychotic.
it's kind
Oh,
of psychotic.
yeah.
You're trying to convince
It's-
people that you're someone that you're not.
It's just a game.
Yeah, it's a fun game. Like I think we should try this if we ever go out and just like pretend to be people who we're not.
Actually, no, my friends used to do that back in
Really?
college, where they
Yeah.
would just pretend to be a completely different profession and just play into that at
Yeah.
like a bar.
I think that's
Yeah.
hilarious. I would
Yeah,
love
it
to
is
try
actually
that. I've never
funny.
done that before.
Wait, that's actually so funny.
Yeah, I feel like I do that every day, but not.
Oh
really.
my gosh. There was this like really goofy looking car at UC, and me and my friends, like, we walked past and we were like, that's a goofy looking car. And then two guys walked past and they're like, oh my gosh, that's such a sick ride. And then my friend was like, yeah, it's mine. You want to take pictures with it?
You
And
can.
they like full on believed her.
Mm.
That was
Why
really
would you
funny.
lie about it?
yeah, it's such a silly thing to lie about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think going back to the like me feeling like a continuous person, like I said, I feel like I've been a pretty consistent person throughout. I don't know if you guys perceive me as different, but from what I've heard from all my friends, like I've been pretty much the same person. Like for people who have known me since I was like a child, most people say that I'm like the same person that I was when I was a kid.
I think core attributes has stayed the same, but I think we talked about this in an earlier podcast. You have become substantially nicer than who you used to be.
Oh,
yeah.
really? Okay.
Yeah. I think I guess like I was thinking about reflecting on
But-
my own
Mm.
changes as a person. I think a majority of my complete overhauls is me recognizing like how much more mature I've become.
Okay.
So maybe like
don't
the
think I've done-
progression was more linear than I like perceive it to be, but I've had like big reflection points where I've looked back and been like, that was really stupid of me to do. And like that's not something that I would do today. because I've like
I've
grown
never
and
thought
matured.
that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've matured at all.
You should start journaling. I think if you actually wrote it down and you read something you wrote 5-6 years ago, you'd be like, that's kind of
Dang,
whack, or
yeah.
that's really different.
Google Hangouts.
Wait, what?
Reading some of those old Google Hangout chats, brother.
Opening the archives for
Ooh.
real.
I don't know.
I need to be locked.
I feel like
buried.
I don't feel like I can't think of like a specific
regret
thing right
anything,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, it's more so of like, ooh,
I would only do
Right.
things differently
Yeah.
because now I have the foresight of the
Yeah.
consequences. But I think if I didn't know the consequences, I'd still make the same decisions.
not necessarily decisions, just like how I acted, I think, or like how I perceived things.
I don't know.
I don't know. Early high school journals was back when I was so mom sent a letter to me that I wrote to myself junior year of high school to future
Oh,
me.
cute.
And it mailed back to me. I think it's been, I don't know, 10 years. And so they finally mailed it to me. And then oh man, it was like, I hope you're still putting God first. I hope you're still I'm like, oh man,
How things have changed.
Oh,
you were a devout
interesting.
Christian boy,
Yeah.
Andrew.
I hope you're
Hey.
still putting God
Dang.
first.
Yeah, man, I wrote that down.
God first.
That was very
Junior
important
high
to
school,
me.
you would be so disappointed right now.
Hey, well, I think he would be intrigued.
Yeah.
Maybe a
Would
little
he?
disappointed in the church aspect, but that's okay.
Dang.
Yeah. I also don't think I was like super convinced that I was super spiritual ever because I've always had my doubts and I
Yeah.
still do. And like,
Yeah.
but there is still a spiritual aspect of me that was there before that I think still lingers. I just don't lean into it anymore because I don't think it does anything for me. So yeah, I think every part of who I was, like even when I was Philip's age, is still here. It's just like it's like adjusting the levels and like audio mixing. It's just some are played up and some are played down, but they're all still there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've done overhauls in
Yeah.
personality.
Really, that's
Yeah.
really interesting that you guys have that perception of your personality.
Wait, do you guys have internal monologues?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Nick
don't.
asked me this yesterday.
Oh.
I don't have like an internal voice. I just say words and they come out. There's no little man
Oh.
speaking to me.
Really?
There's no thoughts in my head. Just head empty. But no. I don't have an internal
Man.
That
monologue.
explains a lot.
Yeah, okay, cool. No doubt.
Wait, what do you mean? Okay, so you mean when you're talking, you have someone talking? in your-
No. Like, I think
Like
people
when you're
were
going
saying,
about your day.
yeah, you have like an internal
Yeah.
like dialogue. I don't. Like,
Like you don't speak to yourself. Can you speak words in your brain? Like can
I mean,
you
yes, I
think
can,
words?
but like, I had to think about me thinking words
Oh,
and speaking
really?
words.
Whoa.
For the most part, like, there's no like a little man's up. I mean, I
Oh,
can't
there's
describe
like someone
it.
like
Interesting.
narrating thoughts the whole
That's
time.
crazy
Yeah,
because
yeah.
no, there's no narrator.
Whoa.
They kicked him out of the script for me.
Whoa.
It's
like
just
ever?
me. No, never. Yeah.
Whoa. You
Mine's-
really are head empty.
Yeah, man. No thoughts, head empty.
Give me some
Just
of that.
vibes.
Just vibes.
Just vibes.
Give me some
It's-
of that.
I don't
Doesn't really
think-
help with my anxiety still though. That's still
Wait,
there.
then how does your anxiety manifest? Is it just like physical?
I mean, yes, it's definitely physical, but
Because when
wait a second.
I'm anxious, like
Oh,
I'm
you-
just
like thinking.
overthinking. Yeah.
It's not like a narration voice, but like when anxiety piles up, I think I'm more visual than it's like dialogue. It's like, oh,
Okay.
like I like see myself needing to do all these tasks.
Interesting.
I'm just like, shit, like this needs to be done, this needs to be done, this needs to be done.
Yeah.
It's not like words that are said that need to be done. It's activities that I need to do.
Because I like these come off as words in my brain where I'm like, oh, I
Oh.
need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. Like what exactly what you just said
Wow.
like goes through my
That's
brain.
crazy. I think I see pictures.
Oh, interesting.
like
than
you're
books.
just like your brain
Or
is
words.
ideas. It's not
Yeah,
words. It's like
exactly.
concepts.
Concepts, shapes,
Oh,
figures.
Interesting shapes.
It's very different.
Just vibes.
Just vibes.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really can't go no
Dang.
thoughts, head empty. Like that's a legitimate thing where I'm just like, I just don't want to think about this.
No,
Really?
I can do that too. Like
Okay.
I go head empty all the time where I
Okay.
just like literally I'll just stare off into space
Yeah.
for like a good like 10-20 minutes And then I'll come back and I'll be like, okay.
Now I want to ask Philip and John. Maybe I'm the oddball out of these 5.
I think John is very head empty.
John just like me for real.
Yeah.
Dude, the more I look at John, the more I'm like, John's going to turn out kind of like me.
No, he is.
Yeah. I
You
think
guys
he
are
is.
very similar.
We're
And
so
I think me
similar.
and Philip are similar in a lot of
Yeah.
ways.
Who's
Except
like
for
me?
it's just you.
No one, it's just you. You don't have an
Bruh.
analogous figure in our
Yeah.
family. It's
Yeah.
so interesting that
It's crazy.
like they are literally just like
I'm the divide. I'm like the mirror.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
like the mirror.
You're the
You're like
mirror.
the
Yeah.
axes across me and Andrew being reflected upon.
Mhm.
Philip
Like
and John.
Philip and John are
Yeah.
Philip is literally
like-
me and John is literally you.
Mhm.
It's reflection and scaling.
Like it's
Yeah.
looks, it's personality, it's
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
2 things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It just happened really naturally. I think it's the fact that there's an older brother dynamic,
think
it
an
might be
older
the
younger
dynamic,
brother
yeah.
dynamic.
Yeah, and they're being raised almost the exact same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah,
I-
that's true.
I'll-
They have the same exact environmental factors.
Yeah.
Except
Aside
for-
from the older siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're more similar to John than I am similar to Philip.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think it's because we've talked about this where Philip hasn't found his like extroverted friend.
Yes.
Because you were strongly, I think, molded by
my
your
extroverted
peers.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
versus
He's
I don't
still
know,
friends
like-
with just like introverted people.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think peers kind of played.
Oh, huge role.
Huge role.
in
yeah,
how your
I would
personality
not
develops.
be
Yeah.
Yeah.
who I am without the people that I've met in high school.
I don't know. I think if I ran with a completely different group, I would still be kind of similar. Maybe.
Really?
No, I'm trying to think. I mean, I also did. I had a different friend groups where I think I expressed myself differently depending
Yeah.
on the friend.
Oh,
group,
yeah.
too.
Yeah,
I code switch a lot
yeah.
for sure.
But yeah, actually, no. That's an interesting question. Because I
think-
also do believe you're the sum of your like closest 5 peers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I had been in any other friend group, I wouldn't have felt as much of a sense of belonging as the one that I like eventually found. Or like I guess my friend group has been together since like 6th grade, so I can't really like we kind of just grew up
That's
together, and I
crazy,
think that's
actually, that you
yeah.
were friends in 6th grade.
yeah. And I
That's
think it's a
wild.
big part of like why we're so comfortable with each other is because we literally grew up together.
No.
Yeah.
All right. That was a good topic. I like
Yeah,
that
whoa.
topic a lot.
Oh, there was someone did ask
Very introspective.
in the Discord like who we still maintain
jeez.
friendships with and like our perspectives on friendships.
That's a deep topic that we can talk about in the next episode, but we can touch on it a little bit.
Yeah.
Who we maintain close contact with.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly just the people that I still see often, like people from home, since I go home pretty often,
Mm-hmm.
maintain contact with them. And then the friends that like I was really close with in college that I'll make an active effort to see on an annual basis. Other than that, like people fall off. It's inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
People fall off, but also come back, which has been cool for me.
Yeah.
Because I think that was Kevin. We were super close, like grade school, elementary school. Then like middle school, high school, we kind of fell apart. College didn't really see him, and now reconnecting. I think he's one of my closest childhood.
Oh,
We're still not
really?
super close.
Okay.
Right.
Like yeah, but like when he visited when he visits New York, like always hang out with him. I'll like jump on calls with him and just catch up on life with him. Yeah, and we didn't really hang out that much in like the middle point of my life. But
I do think that plays into your perception of like how your personality changes. Because if you're
Oh,
switching
yeah.
friend groups and like the person you are with a different friend group, you can see that overhaul. Whereas for
Ooh.
me, I've had a continuous set of friends that have just never left.
Yeah.
Like my high school friends, we still
Well,
hang out all the time.
I
yeah,
still
I'm
hang out with my
I
high school
still
friends.
only hang out
Right.
with my high school friends.
Right, but they're okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
But did you feel like you've made another strong group of friends
But
in a
yes, I have.
with a
Yeah.
different identity? What made you feel like you
Interesting.
had a
Oh, that's
different identity? I think that also influences
I don't think so.
your own identity.
I think my
that's
college friends and my high school friends have similar perceptions of me, but my high school friends definitely understand more about who I am as a person than my college friends
Okay.
do.
No, this is actually something I was thinking about recently because in college, I think I assumed the role of what's missing in a friend group sometimes.
Okay.
Oh.
So when in college, I lived with 5 dudes. None of them took care of the house, and so I was the only one like cooking, kind of taking after people. Like,
Wait,
Yeah.
wait.
me and Kira used to say that we were the mom and dad of the
Did
house.
Emerson live with you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Emerson has grown so much as a roommate. He is now a phenomenal roommate, but it didn't always start out that way. And yeah, we've changed. But so like in college, I was always seen as like super responsible, took care of like everything, like on top of my shit. But then I went to Vietnam with my church friends, like grade school friends, and they're all like very on top of their shit.
Yeah.
And so I remember going to Vietnam. They planned everything out to the T, like every minute. And so I was just like backseat cruising during the trip because they had everything planned out.
Yeah.
And I was so like absent-minded during some parts of it. Like I left my camera just in one of the not Uber Grabs, like one of the cars.
Okay.
Yeah.
It drove off, and I'm like, shit, I just left my stuff in this car. I bolted down the streets of Vietnam chasing down the car. Like we locked ourselves out. That wasn't entirely my fault, but like none of us grabbed the keys, and I'm just like, dang, I'm usually like responsible. What the heck is happening?
Yeah.
But like that
personality definitely changes.
Yeah, that team of individuals had responsible people, and so I'm like, I don't need to assume that role.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
I feel like that's almost how I feel at home. Is that like I feel like mom and dad should be responsible for me, and so sometimes I just be, you know. But you know, I need to change that perception that I have.
It's, another interesting thing I've noticed is that some people, like do overhauls of their friends. Like some people they will like do friendship breakups and just like never talk to that person again, form completely new relationships.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, I know people
That's
like
crazy.
that, and like it's insane. Like they will have a friend group like for a certain number of years, and then something will go awry, completely overhaul that friend group, have to find a completely new. I've never had that happen
like
to me before.
Usually that's like the person who overhauls their friends is usually the problem, because it's usually because I mean, and I speak from like maybe experience of me witnessing this happen, where like the friend group will realize, or like certain people in the friend group will realize that that person is a little problematic, and then like unconsciously they'll start like excluding them from certain things, and then that person starts feeling left out, and then it just kind of snowballs. And so
I've never had that. I've never had a friendship breakup before, and it's such a wild concept to me that you can be so close. Okay, I've had real breakups before, so I can kind of like comprehend what it's like. But with like a friend who you're not like emotionally attached to in the same way that you are with like relationships, like how do you just like drop someone off like that? And
like I
don't understand
distance happening, but it's like you can still
reconnect.
Friends,
You're still, and you can pick up
exactly.
where you left off, and like there's no hard feelings and no reason to not be friends anymore. But
I feel like unless it's a very serious backstabbing, like completely betraying your trust kind of thing.
Yeah, which hasn't really happened to me before.
Same.
Thankfully.
So all right. Well, that wraps up this episode. We're going to stop here. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the best podcast in the world, the Rooftop Podcast. I feel like a lot of podcasts claim to be the number one podcast in the world. Like I've heard 10 podcasts.
Yeah, let's just start claiming that.
Yeah.
Manifest.
Thank y'all for tuning in
Listen
to
to
the number one podcast, the Rooftop
in
Pod.
the world, especially in the Zon family.
In our world, the number one Ohio podcast.
In our family.
The number one
Mason?
Asian American run podcast in Ohio.
With 3 siblings.
With 3 siblings on a rooftop. I think we can claim the number one position in that category.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I am your host, Jesse. Signing out with me is my sister,
Rachel.
And my brother,
Andrew.
And we will catch you on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.